I'm Insomniac, and this is Beyond Black from Black Rifle Coffee Company. Alright, well, a super big shout out to Mike Metropolis from Los Angeles for sending this coffee in. He told me about it, and he was awesome enough to send in a bag. This stuff is pretty cool. I actually really like this packaging. Really simple, kind of monotone. As you see there, there's really not much on it on the front or the back. And they just keep it simple, which I like. It actually says it's a product of the United States. A portion of the profits go to veteran Leo and gun rights organizations.
This is exciting.
And ingredients literally is just one word, coffee. Which is really what the ingredients are in coffee, but for some reason you get to the ingredients section on most of these bags of coffee and you get this big long rambling about Arabicas and soils and a bunch of shit. That's what the ingredients are right there. Coffee.
Point blank period.
So like I said, very simple packaging, but very effective. I like it. And I don't know why I always rub these damn bags when I'm talking about the packaging. This coffee was not ground ahead of time. This is whole bean, for those of you who get on my case about that all the time. I mean, what you need to understand is if I get a ground coffee in, I'm reviewing a ground coffee. If I get a whole bean coffee in, I will grind it on camera and brew it up. I can't really help that. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there you go. Whole bean coffee. The aroma out of this bag is potent. I mean, that is probably, you could probably smell it.
Smell-o-vision.
Holy shit. Now, one of the main scents that you get out of here is beets, cooked beets. So I'm not going to say the aroma is exciting as it is large, because I don't really like beets, but that's not the only aroma. I get a good amount of campfire, then there are baked beans in there, and I'm not talking about coffee beans, I mean baked beans like in a can baked beans.
Baked beans.
Then believe it or not, there's a scent in there that kind of reminds me of crab cakes. That's not only highly unusual, but not something I think I've ever smelled in a bag of coffee. Then it has a slight kind of chemical, oily scent, which actually reminds me of when I'm cleaning my guns. It reminds me of gun oil, which is really cool and very interesting, being that this is Black Rifle Coffee. Speaking of gun oil, let's see if you can see this there on camera. This is about the oiliest, shiniest coffee I think I've ever seen. I don't know, gun oil's not one of the ingredients, but it almost kind of looks like maybe they soak the beans in it before they ship it out.
The world may never know.
Yeah, like I said, some of the most potent aromas I've ever smelled. Really nice looking coffee. Let's get to the more exciting stuff. Grind some of this up, brew some of this up, and then I'll let you know what it smells and tastes like there.
Oh, yo!
Insomniac.
Alright, so we brewed up some of this Black Rifle coffee. That is definitely a fucking dark brew. Anyway, let's see what it smells like brewed. Luckily enough, way better than it smells in the bag. Even though that was pretty interesting, this mostly smells like moist, dark chocolate cake. Can't go wrong with that. Then there's potting soil in there, and a bit of a tangy scent that reminds me of lemons. And there's also a good amount of cooked black beans, and again, not coffee beans, eat 'em beans. Well, you can eat coffee beans. You know what I'm saying? Like the type you'd have with rice and beans.
In the jungle we eat rice and beans.
Well, let's try it. Cheers. Holy shit, that's dark. Beyond Black's a great name for this, because I think I might have just gone blind.
I can't see anything!
Although that might be these fucking lights. They're unbelievable. That mixed with how dark and bold this coffee is, it's definitely screwing up my vision. Well, back to the flavors. Let's do this again. Definitely get a good amount of black licorice. Not one of my favorite flavors. Some people love it though. There's a good amount of black licorice in there. Then there's a bit of a bright, woody flavor in there. which I guess mostly would remind me of pine, but it's a really dark, charred version of that wood. So it's kind of like if you were to have a nice piece of pine and then just absolutely blast the shit out of it with a blowtorch. Okay, so far we have black licorice, blowtorch abused pine. And then actually I really don't get much else after that in terms of flavors that I can pick out, but what I am getting is one of the most interesting finishes I've actually had on any coffee. It has a really long, thick finish that lasts well into the next sip, but what's interesting about it is the fact that it's immediately bitter, but then as opposed to almost any coffee that's bitter and just has a bitter finish, it maybe slowly tapers off. The finish of this coffee is immediately bitter and then very quickly just transitions right to smooth. So you kind of get like this little bitter kick on the palate and on the roof of the mouth after the sip, and then within a couple of seconds it's gone and it's just a nice smooth coffee flavor until the next sip. Really unique and very drinkable. Like I said, it's definitely a big, full-bodied, just bold type of taste and profile and mouthfeel, but I actually kind of like it. I do like this brew and how it drinks. Like I said, unique, but it's good. If I had to rate this on a scale from 1 to 10 Mike Tysons, I'd give it a 7. You get a lot of aromas, a lot of flavors, and I thought they were pretty enjoyable. I didn't love the aromas out of the bag, that's for sure, and it wasn't the most impressive coffee that I've reviewed, but definitely enjoyable. I thought this was a really solid offering. Again, big thanks to Mike Metropolis out of Los Angeles for sending this in. Very enjoyable review, cool coffee. I'm actually excited to drink the rest. Not today, I don't want to have a heart attack, but you know, over time. If you enjoyed this review and you want to see more like it, make sure that you subscribe. Also, if you want to see my full cigar reviews, my watch reviews, and my weekly segment called Shooting the Shit, you're going to want to go to the link at the top of the video description and sign up at my Patreon page. It's the only way that you can get access to that stuff. Starts at $1. And I'll see you at the next one.